you doing?
I'm all right.
Just all right? How's your week been?
It's been all right. It's been rainy and yucky. And
Oh, it was really stormy this weekend, huh?
yeah, but we watched, I don't know in what order this is happening, but I finished my book series, hung some pictures on the wall.
What book series? The one by Kevin Kwan?
Yeah, Crazy Rich Asians.
And then what are the other two books?
It's the Crazy Rich Asians trilogy.
Oh, I got you.
So I don't forget what the other books are called.
But they have other titles as well, subtitles.
Yeah, the first one is Crazy Rich Asians, and then the second one is, I forget.
But you like them?
Yeah, I do like them. They're very indulgent, but yes, I like them a lot.
Do you feel like they're well written?
Yeah, I think so.
I liked the movie for Crazy Rich Asians, but I have not read the book. But maybe I will since we have it now laying around.
Yeah, it's pretty close to the movie with the exception of a few things, but it's still really good. I like it.
I feel like it's kind of like a more like story similar to like A Day Late and a Dollar Short by Terry McMillan, which is one of my favorite books.
Yeah.
Which is just a family, just a book about a black family in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I think those kinds of things can be very interesting, right? There's a supernatural aspect to it or horror aspect, which is stuff I typically like in fiction.
Yeah.
But it's just a story about a family, a loving family, a family that has troubles and problems and stuff. And I adored it.
Yeah.
I adored that book. I think my mom recommended it to me when we were in Idaho. And I was like, I don't know. It's not really up my alley because I was really into like Crichton and Kuntz and King at the time. And she's like, no, this is really good. And so I was like, well, all right, I'll give it a shot. And I tore through it. It was really good. So I probably would like that one too.
This one I really like, and here, I'll tell you why. Here's the truth of it. As an American, I was raised to believe that other countries were
the bad guys,
poor countries, and
third worlds.
Yes, they were, not as developed in whatever as America was. Right. And now I know that that's all BS.
It's all a bunch of bullshit.
So in this book, it's about the high society that live in Singapore and Hong Kong. And I mean, it's not like fiction. It's not nonfiction. Right. It's not a true story.
But it's a fictional story, but it's like surrounding that idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because, the super rich do exist, but they're, they always want to reach billionaire status, and anyone who, doesn't make billionaire status is looked kind of down upon or side-eyed a bit. So it's a very unique perspective on how like the other half or other like societies live their life and stuff.
That's interesting.
High fashion and big, huge houses, and
Are there any magicians in it?
No, there's no magician.
Wizards.
No.
Okay.
It's not sci-fi or anything, but I like it because it's a unique perspective that I don't get to see.
Yeah, I liked the movie, so I probably would like the book.
Yeah.
Unless they're very different.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, I released my first set of the new maps for Age of Steam. I released them today, in fact.
Nice.
Hopefully folks will like them and get some use out of them. I'm pretty proud of it. I've got a long way to go to get them all done, but I got the first 18 out today, so
yeah,
that's not bad.
Yeah, it is. That's very good.
And I'm working on my new portfolio.
Oh yeah.
My new portfolio site. I'm really happy with the way it's coming along, and I'm like Lehu 67 happy about it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not that that means anybody, but
to me it does.
Oh.
And then we watched the Scream trilogy movies with our oldest guy, who he really liked them, and they still kind of hold up all these years later, because the first one is older than he is.
Well, yeah, you were really scared. Like,
oh yeah, they're scary. They're scary movies.
I don't know if they're scary, but I like them. A lot of people don't know this, but in the first Scream,
you said that so many times. You're like, that was filmed at my high school.
They did. They filmed part of those scenes at my old high school in Sonoma.
Nice.
That was always fun, and actually
There's a couple of people that you know.
Yeah, classmates of mine are actually, they don't have speaking roles, but they are visually and physically in it. Yeah, they walk right through the center of camera shot.
That's very cool.
And so I like to go. A lot of people don't know this. I do that on the what's the name of that? Lindsay Lohan movie, I Know Who Killed Me.
Oh.
I always tell people, a lot of people don't know this, but my graphic design work is in that movie.
Yeah.
And there is a point where she's like researching something online, and they cut to the screen, and usually in movies they will recreate graphic design of websites so that they don't have any like IP problems. But they did not do that for this one. They just
pulled up an actual website.
They filmed an actual website
that you made.
Well, I didn't make the whole website, but I made the forum graphics for like all of the buttons and all that. This was so long ago.
Yeah.
But they're there. That's my work right on screen with Lindsay Lohan. So you can say I was in a movie with Lindsay Lohan.
No, you can't.
I can say it.
No, you can't.
I can say it. I don't know if legally I can say it. I should be in IMDb though, because I am technically a prop dresser at that point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think so.
And then we celebrated our fur babies. 2 of them turned 11, and then the other one turned 2, and then our kitty cat turned 15. And so we kind of just put them all in one little birthday, like a little birthday party, and I got them new beds.
Every time you say fur babies, for like a half a second, I have to go, what the fuck are fur babies? And my mind,
most people do.
My mind immediately goes to stuffed animals. I'm like, why are we celebrating stuffed animals? And then I go, oh, that's right. We celebrate the birthdays of our pets. I forgot about that.
I think it's important too. But...
I do too. I think it's cute, but it throws me every time you're like,
sorry.
Do you want to come downstairs for the fur baby party? And I'm like, the fuck is a fur baby?
Oh no. And please don't tell me I sound that silly.
No, it's no. No. It's
but
not.
Did you see their faces? They loved their beds.
They love it. And it's not for very long. It's just for a couple of seconds. I go, huh? Like, I feel like he's hit me with a stun phaser. And I'm like, huh? Oh, yeah, I do. I'll be there for that.
You're like, yeah, I'll try to make it.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
What's that today?
Yeah.
I'll get it.
It's just weird. It just takes me like, because you don't say it all the time.
Yeah.
You only say it when you're collectively referring to them all, which is not that often except for on their birthday.
Well, I don't know when any of their birthdays are. I know that.
You know their rough ages, so you've just given them all the same birthday to make it easier.
I've given them one day.
Yeah.
That we celebrate all of them, whether I give them like extra special treats or I made them sweet potato dinner too.
And the reason we don't know any of their actual birthdays is because they're all rescues.
Yeah, we rescued them all.
And so we just have basic guesses.
Yeah. Kaylee's previous owner, she said that she was born sometime in March or whatever, and then in 2010. So I just kind of went with that month, and then I don't know exactly why I landed on that specific day, but that's just the day that I celebrate the furry babies.
Well, it makes it easier.
Is that better? Furry babies?
No.
They're my babies.
No, when you say furry babies, now I'm like, convention center? Cosplay? What are you talking about?
The dogs and cat.
Oh.
It doesn't sound as cute.
How about just the animals?
But that's a separatist thing. Separating the humans from the animals.
Well, I guess, but...
They're my babies. They're furry. I call them furry babies.
Okay, makes sense.
Yes.
I'm down with it.
Okay.
Whatever you want to call it. All right, so we're doing something a little bit different this week. We're trying it out. You had a great idea to talk about conspiracy theories.
Ooh.
But I felt like that was too much topic for one episode. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to talk about conspiracy theories over the course of a few episodes, not in a row, but like once a month for a few months.
So we've come up with a new segment? Kind of a thing for our show. Right?
Well, no, it's still going to be thing of the week, but once a month, the thing of the week will be a conspiracy theory of our choosing. Okay. And this week, we got to do the quote of the week, right?
Oh, okay.
The quote of the week is going to give away the thing of the week. But anyways, we'd love to hear your feedback, folks that are listening. If you like the conspiracy theory episodes, then we can do more of them. If you don't like them, then we're still going to do some of them, but they're just not going to be as often because we like talking about it. It's a fun topic.
And maybe our 4 listeners would too.
Yeah.
Right?
I think we have more than 4.
We'll see.
We have 1 public and 2 private. No, 3 private.
3 of them are our children.
Then I know there's a handful of people who are not listening every week, but they are listening occasionally. So prove me wrong.
Sure.
Listeners, prove me wrong.
I believe you. Mm-hmm.
All right. Quote of the week. There were some scientists trying to figure out the Sasquatch riddle. Then they figured out it was a missing link. In Search of Sasquatch. That was a kick-ass In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy kicking out the jams.
Kicking out the jams.
Yeah. He captured imaginations of people all around the globe.
Okay, no.
His name was Sasquatch. So what?
That's not the real quote.
Oh, no. That's the lyrics to Sasquatch from Tenacious D, one of my favorite
Jack Black
bands. Yeah, Jack Black.
and Kyle Glass.
I don't know if Kyle too, KG. I don't know if I've said this before, but Jack Black is like literally one of the only celebrities that if I met him in person, I'd be kind of, hey.
You're really great. Remember
what's
that
up,
one
dude?
time?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I would go fully into I'd go fully into Farley interviewing McCartney on Saturday Night Live.
All right, here's the real one.
Oh, the
okay,
real
you
quote.
ready?
Yeah, real quote of the week.
And I'm going to mess up this name, but it's by Bernard Heuvelmans. And it says, quote, "Have pity on them all, for it is we who are the real monsters." End quote.
Human beings, we're terrible monsters.
Awfuls.
Even the best of us can be monstrous, right?
I mean, we are capable, right?
No, but I mean, even like, I consider myself a pretty decent person, but I lose my temper. I say mean things. I don't do crimes, but I could. I'm capable of doing crimes, and maybe if pushed far enough, a crime I would commit. But what I'm saying is like, I think it's just I think it's in your nature as an animal, because humans are still animals. We just like to walk around and pretend we're civilized, but most of the time we're just performing.
Yeah.
Right. And we don't have enough understanding for the beasts, right? The non. Well, I wouldn't even say they don't communicate, but they just don't communicate in a way that
they don't have language.
Comprehend.
Yeah.
They have. I think they do have language. I think animals have language.
They don't speak
a
our
language we can understand.
Right. They don't have an identifiable language.
Or one that we take the time to learn.
Yeah, that's true too.
All right. So the thing of the week for this week is conspiracy theories, cryptids.
Yeah.
And cryptids are
an animal that has been claimed to exist but never proven to exist.
Unsubstantiated.
Yeah.
I just did my best Ashley Flowers.
And then, so the people who study these animals or the possible existence of these animals based on eyewitness accounts and all sorts of stuff is cryptozoology, which is the study of cryptids. It's not considered a real science, but it's based in zoology and paleontology.
I actually did a little bit of deep dive on the cryptozoology.
Okay.
And I discovered that it is related to young Earth creationism, ghost hunting, and UFOlogy.
See, that just sounds super cool.
Now, yeah, except for the young Earth creationism. This one I didn't know what it was. I know what ghost hunting is and UFOlogy because they make TV shows about that.
Yeah, the X-Files. That's I've done most of my research.
I want to believe.
Yeah.
Young Earth creationism, and I'm just going to read this from Wikipedia. In its most widespread version, YEC, is based on the religious belief in the inerrancy of certain literal interpretations of the book of Genesis. Its primary adherents are Christians who believe that God created the earth in 6 days, in contrast with old earth creationism, which holds literal interpretations of Genesis that are compatible with the scientifically determined ages of the earth and universe. So basically, they believe that the earth was created in 6 days and that everything that exists on the earth is young, right? And not the actual ages that science has proven.
All right. So that doesn't sound as fun.
That's not fun. But it was interesting to me because now it's Wikipedia, right? So it could be anybody writing this, but I've always generally considered, and this is not an insult to Christianity or religion, at least I don't intend it that way, but I've always considered it to be like any other religion on the planet or any older belief system, like, Greek and Roman mythologies, we call them. Mm-hmm. Well, I think that Christianity in a lot of ways is a mythology as well. Yeah, we just still actively believe in it. Yes. So we haven't moved to that point of everyone agreeing on that. Mm-hmm.
It's just a very it's very almost judgy way of looking at it. Like, this is this, but then everything else is mythology, which I have a problem with too.
Right.
I don't like using mythology as a word because people, believe in those things, and
yeah, but it still
becomes part of them.
I think mythology is not a bad word.
But we've made it kind of a thing.
I guess, but it accurately describes the truth, which is that these are things that we believe that we cannot prove.
Yeah, that's true. So You're right in that, most religion is that. Almost all, I guess all religion is that. You can't really prove these things. You just have faith and believe in it, and it becomes part of it. Yes and no. So the religious stories are like that, right? Yeah, they've been passed down from, person to person.
But the thing that people get out of religion, which is the community and the gathering.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, of course.
That stuff's not mythology.
Right.
But
the teachings.
Right. Well, I don't know if I go so far as the teachings. I would just say the belief that there's a man in the sky that created everything.
Okay.
And that is flawless and all of that stuff. That's borderline like Zeus, right? But the hey, be nice to each other, don't kill things.
Oh,
those kinds of things, I think those aren't really mythology. Those are good ideas that we should propagate, but we should stop pretending they came from a white bearded guy in the sky.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyways.
Sorry, we got way sidetracked on that. But again, no, I don't. You believe whatever you want to believe. I just feel like, there's a lot of good to be found in religions, but there's also a lot of shit to be found there. And that's true of all stuff on earth, I think. So anyways, we're talking about cryptids this week. I went and took a look, and there are 31, and I'm going to use Pokemon terms here just to make it clear. This is not what it says, but 31 water types, 29 earth types, and 3 air types.
There's probably way more.
There might be way more, but these are the documented ones, or the ones that have gotten enough people mentioning that they've, taken root in our pop culture and mythology and stuff. Mm-hmm. So some of the more famous water types are like the Kraken, and then Loch Ness, Nessie, who's a personal favorite of yours and mine because Scotland. Mm-hmm. And then popular earth types would be Bigfoot, Chupacabra, and the Yeti, though the Yeti is just snow Bigfoot, right? That's the same thing.
Yeah.
That's just that's like Bigfoot when he's older and he's gone gray, in my opinion. And then the air types, there's only 3. So just Jersey Devil, Mothman, and Thunderbird. I don't know what Thunderbird is. It just says very large bird.
Yeah.
Again, there's also one called Giant Spider. Come on, people. If we're going to make these things up, let's get imaginative, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think about all of these cryptids? What's your favorite one, first of all?
My favorite one is Nessie.
The serpent.
I refuse to call her a monster because...
Yeah, when I wrote just down Loch Ness, Nessie, because I don't want to call her a monster either.
Loch is the Gaelic word for lake. Yep. So at Lake Ness, during the 7th century, there was a lot of sightings.
Yeah.
And then once they built a road around Loch Ness, their sightings became even more because more people around.
Wow.
And so her description is she has a large reptile body, long neck, stubby paddle-like fins.
Oh.
And the most popular theory is that she was a plesiosaurus.
Oh, yeah.
That could have possibly, in some perfect conditions, when the water rose, got like washed in from the ocean and got kind of trapped in that little Loch Ness area. And it was just teeming with fish, and it was just like a perfect little condition to keep her safe. And so that's where, you know, all these sightings or whatever. There isn't much anymore. People like every once in a while they'll say, oh, I see it, but this logs and whatever. The problem with all of these is that you have a mixture of cuckoos, and then you have a mixture of people who are trying to prove that these things exist,
Right.
but then they have these fake people that have it's a hoax. And so then you really have made this, you know, normal, regular people go, it's a hoax because that one's fake.
Well, do you think that some of it, and first of all, I want to be clear on this whole thing. Like, for me, a lot of times with these kinds of things, rationale wins the day. But I am like Mulder too, is I want to believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to believe.
Absolutely.
But do you think that there was a point in time where this stuff really ran rampant in the minds of Earthlings because we didn't have access to a supercomputer or camera phones? And so like getting a shot of Loch Ness wasn't even a thing you could do. It was just like, I swear I saw it.
There's someone down in the pub going, no, you got to believe me.
Yeah.
I saw it with my own two eyes. It stood up and looked at me.
But then also it's been a long time, right? You said 7th century when that started.
Yeah.
Is it possible that that was a thing and the reason there isn't any modern evidence of it is because it died?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I think.
I mean,
that's my theory.
I mean, these things couldn't be immortal too.
Right. And I think that's what you have to like try to be, like you're saying, rational about it.
Yeah.
They could have existed at one time or another, or what, you know, but now it would be completely impossible to not have a clear picture of something.
Right.
Or
you
a
would
clear
have like
video
a high
of something.
res.
Yeah.
Right.
There's just too much technology that we have at our fingertips now to not make these things proven.
Well, enough people have, right? Like it's like critical mass at this point. Enough people have a constant camera that never runs out of film, right? That they, what the hell is that? I'm going to film it.
Right.
Right? That's commonplace in these days, this day and age.
Yeah.
I think it's really fascinating, though, that as technology got better, these kinds of stories kind of fell away. Right?
Or they were proven as hoax.
Right.
Or they were like, we can't really tell. So therefore, if you can't prove it, then means it doesn't exist.
Right.
Until you can prove it, which I think that's a good process to have.
Yeah.
With some things. Not with all things, but with some things.
I think there's some fun though in just believing in something, even if you can't prove it. Like maybe that's the whole religious thing. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just like there's some comfort there.
Absolutely.
In believing in that man in the sky instead of like
someone to give all of your problems to and all of your hopes and dreams to, so that it's lighter for you to carry. That's absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good draw. That's a good draw for that.
My second favorite.
Yes.
Is Sasquatch or Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
Known to be lurking in the backwoods of the United States and Canada. It's also been seen supposedly.
He's international.
Supposedly, yeah, he's a traveler. Supposedly in Texas, there have been a couple of sightings as well.
Well, there was a lot of supposed sightings growing up in California too.
But again, it was like 1960 or something like that, 1955, when this was like where they got the very blurry image. So its description is 7 to 10 feet tall, hairy ape-like, walks like a human, large feet up to size 20. Now, the popular theory on this, according to scientists, is that it could possibly be black bears with mange. Because if you've ever seen a black bear that doesn't have fur due to mange, they look nothing like you would think a black bear would look like.
Oh, yeah, because
they have, a whole different kind of skin tone. They're very different looking with hair and than without hair.
And they would be large, right?
Yeah.
Standing up, but they don't walk on hind legs.
Bears have been known to walk on two legs, not for long periods of time,
But long enough to get a shot.
But long enough to maybe get a shot, or maybe it's trying to shake a tree, or, it's trying to find some sort of food.
But would it look humanoid with no hair?
I don't know. From far away, behind fogged glass, it's possible.
Yeah.
Maybe you see this skinned, or this being that's skin and,
right.
No clothes, just in its skin, that looks upright and huge. And then you get terrified, wet your pants, and run. And then you're like, no, I saw Sasquatch.
I do feel like in most situations, most people in that situation, in that context, would be terrified and not really get a good description, like a good look at it.
Yeah.
Right?
And the Bigfoot phenomena is riddled with hoaxes, fakes.
Oh, yeah.
It's riddled with it.
Well, that's an easy one to hoax, right?
Because you can go, well, it's supposed to be a human. I'll just I'll just make these footprints, and then I'll trick my buddy, and it'll be funny, right?
The balloon company I worked for in Arizona wanted me to dress up like a Sasquatch and run about in the Arizona woods, which is just bushes and cactus,
and rattlesnakes,
so that people from the hot air balloon would catch a glimpse of me and think there was Bigfoot sightings. And I said I would totally do it in a heartbeat, but I think I might die of heat stroke in that suit.
You would do it.
Yeah.
You're terrible.
No, I'm not terrible. I just like fun.
All right. So the next one that I kind of find fascinating is the giant squid, also known as the kraken. Now,
is the kraken? Yeah, I guess the kraken is a squid, right?
Yeah. If you think about it, what's the most terrifying thing in old-timey times, right? Mm-hmm. What's the most terrifying thing that can happen to you out on the water in a rickety wooden boat?
Oh, yeah, for something from the sea to come up and destroy your boat.
Yeah. And eat creatures with their, like, left and right with their arms and just be
I don't think the kraken is unreal. I think that there are gigantic squid.
Yes, there are. And
I just don't think it's as, like, horrific.
Not until recently have they even been able to get footage of a ginormous type of squid.
Yeah.
And even then, it's I forget what date it was, but it was almost recently, within the last like 50 or 60 years. That's more recent. We're talking about old-timey stuff here.
Yeah, I guess
that's more recent.
In the history of the world, 50 or 60 years is pretty recent.
So a Japanese whaling vessel of some kind discovered a giant squid-type creature floating on the ocean. And so they tried to reel it in.
Oh, was it dead?
And it grabbed a hold of the thing and then got away, but ripped its arm off, one of the tentacles off.
Wow.
So all these dudes was this ginormous tentacle to show everybody, oh, we got a giant squid. But it took off and left. It was like...
Do squids regrow their limbs?
I think so, because octopus can.
Octopus can?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
That's interesting. I like the idea of the kraken. I think that the ocean
is terrifying,
and deep water really holds a lot of mysteries we still haven't solved. And
we haven't even scratched this, not pun intended at all. Yeah. We haven't even scratched the surface on exploring the ocean at all.
Well, that's what I mean. Like the 31 water types, they're all kind of different creatures. Mm-hmm. But of the 29 earth types, they're basically all Bigfoot and like
humanoid.
Chupacabra.
Yeah, humanoid and weird ass goat suckers.
Well, the Chupacabra has been described as being kind of like lizard-like, but all of the other ones that were in that list were all variations on the theme of Bigfoot, right? Just like a big, hairy, bipedal creature.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The next one that our son Liam turned me on to was Mothman.
The Mothman.
And I had never heard of Mothman. And there's not much out there. That
reminds me real quick before we go further. Mothman, would the Slender Man technically be a cryptid? It wasn't in any of the lists I looked at, but it's kind of a similar idea, right?
Yeah.
It's a horrific
It's an urban legend.
Yeah. Okay, so it's more of an urban legend than a cryptid. So it's
not a creature.
Right.
That we know of, but
that's creepy. Mothman's creepy though. That's why that made me think of that.
But Mothman, the where is West Virginia from around 1966. It was the first few sightings. And it was always like a couple people here and there. It wasn't a whole lot of people. But it's supposed to be a man-sized bird creature with glowing red eyes. Everyone who's ever seen this thing can't stop talking about the glowing red eyes, either when light is directed towards it or it's just glowing in the dark.
So like
the glowing red eyes. And the popular theory behind it is not a man with wings that, takes, people or whatever. It's a large crane or an escaped bat.
Wait, escaped bat. Can bats get big?
Yes, bats can get big, but like big as in like a Great Dane sized dog big, not big as in like a man.
I don't know. I've seen some pretty tall Great Dane dogs.
Yeah, okay, maybe so then. But also a large crane because they walk on two legs, they have wings, and maybe their eyes reflect light.
What's a crane? Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that beak would give it away though, right?
Not in the dark.
Yeah, but they're white. Like their feathers are white, right?
Couldn't we mistake that as skin color?
Oh, well, yeah, I guess a moth would have whitish wings too, right?
And if you're seeing this shit out of the corner of your eye while you're making out in the car with your lady, wouldn't that be...
Is that a common story?
I was just saying.
I was making out with my lady.
So there I was,
Minding
my own business.
When I saw these glowing red eyes, it was a moth for sure, and a man.
Right? So, I don't know. Okay, the last one I want to tell you about is called a tatzelworm.
Tatzelworm?
Yes.
I don't like it.
Okay, no, me neither.
I don't like worms.
Me neither. Or this is not the last one, but this is second to last one.
Okay.
So it's mostly been seen in the isolated regions of the Alps.
Oh, so I don't know, Lloyd. The French are assholes.
The description is, okay, now stay with me here.
Yeah.
2 to 5 feet in length with a cat-like head, a wide gaping mouth, short forelimbs with long claws, no hind legs, but then the body kind of tapers into a long snake-like tail.
Can I tell you that I hated that whole description, but the gaping, why does the word gaping exist? Gaping, moist, I hate these words.
I don't know, but isn't that terrifying?
It sounds like.
Or it sounds like, have you ever watched The X-Files with that one episode where that got stuck in like...
Yes, that's what I was going to say, tombs.
No, not tombs. It's the one where it's like a worm type creature, but the more he finds it, the more Mulder finds it, it's grown bigger. And it's completely white, and it's just got this sucky mouth looking thing.
Oh, yeah. Is that based off of that?
I don't know. It could be. I have to go back and watch the episode now.
Yeah, that is a creepy episode.
Because that's what that kind of reminding me of.
Yeah, it's gross. I don't mean no likey.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
All right. Now, most cryptids are seen by 1 or 2 people at a time, right? Not like mass quantities of people.
Well, no, but I think the reason for that would never change, right? Like,
yeah, but it's always in a dark alley somewhere, and you turn around and there's something.
But they're rare, mysterious creatures.
Yeah,
they're lonely. They probably know well enough to stay away from humans, and that sightings are rare accidents,
or
right?
populated areas. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but it's always like,
I mean, like Loch Ness Monster doesn't. Loch Ness Monster doesn't really have an option, right? Like it's just stuck in that loch. But like Bigfoot,
yeah,
you know,
he can travel up and down the United States.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect him to like accidentally stumble across a Boy Scout troop.
Right, but I don't know. It's just kind of like questionable. Right?
I'm just saying that doesn't make me go, oh, fake. That makes me go, no, that makes a lot of sense. Like I would hide too if I was a rare creature.
Yeah, I guess so. But it would have to show intelligence then at some point, right?
I don't believe that I don't believe that there's any creature on the planet Earth that doesn't have some level of intelligence.
Yeah.
Just because you cannot formulate your own language or make, tools or whatever doesn't mean you lack intelligence.
That's true. That's true. Okay, but according to an article on LitHub by Colin Dickey, the Gloucester...
That sounds like a website you don't want to go to.
No, it's Literature Hub, whatever.
Oh, Literature Hub.
It's LitHub.
I thought you said... Oh, you did say LitHub.
Yeah, I did.
Well, I didn't go to literature. I went to like Gen Z, like
this
lit.
is lit, dude.
Lit, bro.
Okay.
So I think I go there and it's just like, check out Hot Babe of the Week 23 or something. It's like the chive.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, terrible.
All right, stay with me.
Okay, sorry.
Gloucester sea serpent by a lot of people has been seen on several occasions by a lot of people. The amount of people that have seen this sea creature with the same description, mind you, is enough to write a book about. And there is a book. There's a book about all these sightings.
Has anybody gotten a good picture of it?
No. See, that is the problem. It is also like Nessie when Gloucester, Massachusetts, and the Cape Ann area in 1817. But there were boats that would go out and go, okay, maybe we'll get to see the Gloucester sea monster. And then all of a sudden it would show. And a 45 to 50 feet long snake with the head the size of a horse.
But see, that's 4 years ago?
Yeah. Obviously
that's
can't
alive.
exist to this day, but that doesn't mean it didn't exist then.
Maybe it could exist to this day because there are some tortoises that live a long time, right?
That's true.
But, I don't know.
Anyways, this thing has been seen a lot of times by groups and groups of people at all times of the day and night.
Well, think about it like this, though. Like, how often have you seen a whale?
I've never seen a whale in person.
No, but, like, how often have you heard of somebody seeing a whale, right? Like, even when you know the whale's there, they're kind of elusive.
Yeah.
Right? They don't come all the way out of the water every time.
Yeah.
You might catch a brief glimpse of their tail or like the blowhole, or they come up a little bit and then go back down.
Yeah.
But the reality of that thing is it's enormous, right?
Yeah. So along that point, the popular theory for this one is that groups of like dolphins or other small whales travel in pods. And so they'll come up and they'll just do this kind of thing, making it look like a long of humped animal creature of some kind, but from far away it looks like one
that's possible. Yeah.
That's the popular theory for this one.
That makes a lot of sense too if a lot of people have seen it at once.
Yeah.
Because dolphins do that.
Yeah. So now, we have to separate fact from curious people and then the non-critical thinkers that just believe anything and everything. Or
I wonder though if that's just like a better life.
I think of that all the time. I go, man, I wish I didn't know some things.
Yeah, just take it all at face value and be like, well, that doesn't sound too good to me, but I'm going to be here on my porch.
I just want a more simpler life like that. Yes, exactly.
I think that's the reward of getting old.
Yeah.
Is that at some point you just go, well, that does suck, but I'm going to be on my porch.
Now, all of this to say that at one point in time, the panda bear was considered a myth.
No.
Yes.
The panda?
The panda bear.
Hell, if we don't knock it off, the panda bear is going to be a myth at some point.
And that is why when zoos became a thing, they made sure, and that's why it's very, very important to Asian cultures that there's zoos that have panda bears, and that when they do breeding programs, it's an auspicious thing to have a baby being born.
Well, they're very shy, right?
Yes.
When it comes to mating.
Yes. And they're very shy of people unless they're very comfortable.
Well, they should be.
Yeah.
They're so adorable. Panda bear is my favorite bear.
They're cute as heck.
I love panda bears. Board game producers, if you put a panda of any sort in your game, I'm buying it. I will buy it. I've got every panda game.
Yeah. All right. So here's my whole opinion comes down to this. Nature is funky, right?
Yeah.
But I think that the humanoid ones, maybe not so real.
Well, like the Bigfoot could also just be like a really big guy
Yeah.
who just doesn't like society and he's just chilling out in the woods by himself, and he's got glimpsed a few times.
Right.
But he's since passed away, and that's why you don't hear about it anymore.
Like just a transient person out in the nowhere or something.
I was thinking about, like, you know how there's all the legendary creatures too, like Minotaur and Cyclops and Medusa.
But they all have to be based in some sort of truth, because then where the hell are these people getting these things
Right,
from?
but at what point does a Bigfoot or a Loch Ness become a legendary creature?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Right? Because there's, at some, in Greek times, they weren't like, man, saw a dude with one eye, big as a house.
Yeah.
Right? They weren't thinking of these as mythological things. They were tall tales. They were just like cryptids are now, where people are like, oh, I saw a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So at some point they became mythological creatures, right?
Yeah.
So when do these level up?
I love hearing stories of people that have seen these things.
Yeah.
I love hearing it because every one of them is different, and they're just so, like, they're either excited about it or they're scared about it. Like the range of emotions all over the place.
Yeah.
But I love hearing about it.
It's fun,
It's
right?
very unique and interesting, and I adore it.
But it's also like, more recently, I guess you've heard about it more, but in those times it was like, I was just out hiking. I saw a mountain lion, and we stood and stared at each other, and right. Like that's the same kind of rareness.
Yeah.
Right. You don't run into mountain lions every day,
Yeah.
but you know they exist, or you think they do.
Yeah.
I've never seen a mountain lion in person other than, I guess, like at a zoo, maybe.
Which is not good.
No, you know what? I used to enjoy going to the zoo because I like animals, and I thought, oh, the zoo's doing more good than harm. But then I went to the Nashville Zoo, and we saw that ape that was kind of like pacing back and forth in one spot. And he just looks so human.
Yeah.
And sad.
Yeah.
And I was like, this isn't right. I'm not gonna do these. I'm not coming to these things anymore.
Yeah.
And he looks so sad and so human.
Once you know what all of these animals look like when they're in a happy, natural environment, and then you look at them again with that same information, you go, well, why? It's like looking at horses. You see horses in the wild or in sanctuaries, and you see them running free with their ears up and their tail up, and they're moving all the time, moving. And then you see them out in someone's pasture, and they're just standing there with their head hanging. You can tell the difference.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. And again, that feeds into my theory. These fuckers are hiding.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd hide too.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of these probably, if they did ever exist in any form, regardless of how grandiose the original person who saw them described them, right? Like, you also have to take into consideration that people use hyperbole and exaggeration to make stories better.
Yeah, that's true.
So like, he was 7 foot tall, right? Clumps of hair everywhere.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, as far as my eyes could see, right? Like, he ran right for me. I stumbled, but I got my foot down. I ran all the way back here to the pub, right? Like, there's always going to be that element to it as well, right?
Yes.
Like, there was something one time that was dealing with the mythological creatures that I watched. I can't remember what it was. I'll Google it and see if I can try to find it. If I do, I'll put it in the show notes. But it was approaching those mythological creatures as they might have actually been. Mm-hmm. Instead of the tall tales about them, right? Like, so the Minotaur was just a guy who had like a bull's head on his head, right? Oh no! And the Cyclops was just a guy who'd lost an eye. Oh no! Just lost one eye. Yeah, and he was just a normal guy.
So it's like actual real stories, but they've got so blown out of proportion and so exaggerated that the reality is not as exciting.
Right, like Paul Bunyan, right? Paul Bunyan's not a gigantic man with a big blue ox, but there probably was a dude with a big blue ox, just a regular dude, like 6'8" maybe. But people were like, he was as tall as a tree
And he was
tops.
carrying an axe.
Right?
Right.
Or like, even, and I don't want to go back to this, but the Bible, like a lot of that stuff in there is also warped and changed over time as more people. It's like a game of telephone, right?
Right. The more that a story gets told,
The more
the
changes
more
get
off
made.
the details really are.
Especially when you're talking about taking something from the language it was written in and translating it into an English language,
Yeah.
right? Like there's a lot lost in translation there as well.
Yeah.
But those are the kinds of things I'm talking about. You have to peel away what's all the excess that we put onto this, and then what's there at the truth.
Yeah.
And I believe that people who claim to see UFOs saw UFOs. Did it later get explained as a weather balloon or like dust plume from an exploding power plant? Maybe. But does it matter? Because in the moment they believed what they saw.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, those are for another episode because.
Oh, UFOs?
Hold on to your hat.
Yeah, UFOs is a fun one. I think this is a fun thing to talk about.
Yeah.
I think they're cool. I think that some of them, we didn't really touch on this very much, but I just really briefly, some of them tend to have more horrific leanings. Like the Bigfoot to me and like the Yeti seem kind of like goofy and like not very scary. Kind of. Maybe it's because I grew up hearing about them.
There was also that movie, Harry and the Hendersons. He was a pretty docile Bigfoot.
Yeah. But then like the Jersey Devil or the Mothman.
Right.
Those ones make me go, oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like the thought of not the thought of aliens from another planet in general, but the thought of specifically, the gray, the Martian gray.
Yeah.
That's wants to kill humans. That terrifies the shit out of me. Or
just experiment
on them.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff is very, very scary to me.
Yes, because you have no control. It's
Right.
like the people in a wooden boat in the middle of the ocean, the Kraken, right? That's the worst thing you can possibly think of at that moment. But it's terrifying to be out of control and have something attack and
Yeah, totally.
you have no say what's happening.
You wake up in the middle of the night and you're sleep paralysis. You can't move, and there's a gray at the foot of your bed.
I have to sleep tonight, bro.
But that's what I'm talking about. Like that.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Because there's nothing you can do.
Nothing you can do.
But yeah, so I think that this was fun to talk about, and I'd like to talk about more of these things. If you are into talking about more of these things in the future.
Cool.
Well, thank you for talking to me about cryptids and cryptozoology tonight. I love you.
I love you too.
The Lou and Me podcast is a Matthias production. The song is No Carpets by the New Forevers. Produced and edited by Moose. Hosted by Lou and me.
Thanks for listening.